Okay, let's untack this. Welcome, everyone, to the deep dive. This is where we take source material, stories, narratives, and really dig in to find the most important insights for you.
Exactly. And today, our source is quite a narrative. It's titled Stepmother's Unjust Accusation and Redemption.
And our mission really is to look at this specific story as a kind of case study. We want to unpack this account of prejudice, a really shocking false accusation, and what happens next, these unexpected family bonds forming.
It's a powerful one. It really makes you think about how prejudice can, snowball and how family isn't always what you might assume it is on the surface.
Yeah, how fast things can go wrong based on just assumptions,
Yeah.
and how deep connections can form in surprising ways. It definitely makes you pause.
Absolutely. It's a vivid example of how um, unchecked bias can just trigger this terrible chain reaction.
So let's get right into the narrative itself as the source lays it out. It starts with a woman named Maria. She's just, taking a walk on a sunny day. Seems normal.
Right. Completely ordinary. Until she sees something that bothers her. A black woman, who we later learn is Ruby, with two white children.
And the source is very clear here. Maria feels uneasy, suspicious, just based on seeing them together. She sees the younger boy, Austin, maybe 5, and the older one, Parker, about 10, and Parker looks upset.
Yeah, Parker's clearly distressed, resisting Ruby, shouting, his face is red. It looks bad, from a distance.
And Maria, well, she doesn't wait, doesn't ask questions. That feeling, that suspicion, it just pushes her straight to action. She sees a police officer.
And she rushes over. The source quotes her saying something like, officer, you need to do something. That woman, she looks like she's kidnapping those kids. Very direct, very accusatory.
The speed of it is striking, isn't it? From seeing something to making a criminal accusation, it feels like that initial bias just takes over.
It really does. And the officer naturally responds to this urgent plea and approaches Ruby and the children.
Now we get Ruby's side. She sees them coming. The source mentions she looks surprised, maybe a bit anxious, but she keeps her cool.
And it notes specifically that she's aware, as a black woman, this kind of situation could be difficult, could lead to unfair treatment.
So she explains very calmly, I'm their stepmother. She gives their names Austin and Parker. She even explains Parker's behavior. Parker's still adjusting to me, so he's a bit resistant. A perfectly reasonable explanation.
Seems straightforward, right? But then comes the twist. The officer needs to check. He crouches down, talks to Parker directly, asks him, is she your mother? Is what she's saying true?
And this is where Parker, the 10-year-old, has what the source calls a devious idea. A kid's impulse, maybe?
Maybe. But the impact is huge. He looks the officer in the eye and says, no, she's a kidnapper. She tricked us, me and my brother. I want to find my real mom.
Wow. Just like that, a 10-year-old's lie completely overturns Ruby's calm explanation.
And the officer, well, he has to take a child's claim like that seriously, especially given Maria's initial accusation and Parker's visible distress. It all seems to fit a certain narrative.
So Maria's watching, feeling like she was right all along. And Ruby, she's being led towards the police car.
Can you imagine? For Parker, maybe it felt like a prank, a way to lash out. But for Ruby, her composure just breaks inside. Her worst fears about being judged unfairly are happening right there.
The story then takes us inside the police station with Ruby. The description is grim, cold room, harsh light.
Yeah, and the questioning sounds really aggressive. An officer apparently slams his hand on the table, shouting, just admit it, you kidnapped those two kids, didn't you?
But Ruby holds firm. She keeps repeating, I didn't kidnap them. I'm their stepmother. I haven't done anything wrong. But they don't seem to believe her. They're stuck on the initial story.
That skepticism, fueled by the initial bias and Parker's lie, it's powerful.
And the contrast is chilling. While Ruby's going through this awful interrogation, the source says Parker is outside, chuckling to himself, proud of his prank.
Completely unaware, it says blissfully unaware of the serious trouble he's caused. And Austin, the younger one, is just sitting there, not understanding any of it.
It really highlights that gap, doesn't it? The person causing the harm feels none of the consequences initially.
Exactly. It raises big questions about responsibility, even for a child's actions.
So things shift when the police manage to contact the biological mother, Eliana.
And her arrival is, well, it's something else. The source describes her as cold, indifferent, not panicked about her kids being at a police station at all.
Her first words are apparently, I was about to leave for Hawaii with my boyfriend, but I had to come here because of their little prank. Just, wow. Annoyed, not concerned.
Priorities, right. And when they ask her about Ruby, she confirms it. Yeah, Ruby's the stepmother, married to her ex, George. George is raising the kids. Eliana says she has her own life.
And she says this with a smirk, the source notes, sarcastic almost.
The whole police station is just stunned. Ruby was telling the truth all along. The whole thing, the accusation, the arrest, based on bias and a lie.
Eliana just wants to leave, get to her flight for Hawaii. But Parker sees her, the mom he claimed he wanted.
And he runs to her, desperate now, crying, "Mom, I want to go with you. Please don't leave me with her." He's clinging to her.
And Eliana's reaction, ice cold. She literally shoves him away, raises her hand, about to slap him, calls him a nuisance.
Just brutal. And in that exact moment, as Eliana's hand is raised,
Ruby steps in. Right in front of Parker, she takes the slap herself. Eliana doesn't even blink, just storms out.
incredible. Ruby stands there, cheek stinging, but the source says her resolve is unshaken. She looks at Parker, not with anger, but with pain and compassion, forgiving him silently.
That act of protection, right after Eliana's rejection, it speaks volumes.
It really does. And then the final piece falls into place. The door bursts open. It's George, Ruby's husband, the boy's father.
And plot twist, the source reveals he's the newly elected mayor, just got back from a trip. He sees Ruby, sees the situation.
He rushes to Ruby, embraces her, voice choked up, saying how sorry he is he wasn't there.
And he doesn't just stop at comforting Ruby. He immediately addresses the injustice, demands the interrogating officer be demoted.
Yes, and he speaks forcefully about equality, about how discrimination based on skin color is unacceptable. He connects the dots between the bias and what happened to Ruby.
Then he turns to Parker, ready to give him a piece of his mind, understandably.
But Ruby stops him again, shields Parker again.
Don't do that, he's just a child, she says. He needs time to understand. Still protecting him.
And seeing all this, his mom's coldness, Ruby's constant protection, even after he lied, his dad's anger, and then Ruby's defense of him, it finally clicks for Parker.
He gets it. The source says he realizes his biological mother didn't care, but Ruby, the stepmother he resented, truly loved and protected him. He just breaks down crying.
Overcome, he runs straight into Ruby's arms, sobbing, I'm sorry, Mom." Using that word, Mom.
And Ruby just holds him, comforts him, complete acceptance.
The source ends that scene saying everyone there understood something profound, that a new family had been forged not just by blood, but by genuine love and care.
Yeah, built on sacrifice and forgiveness, not just biology. And the final point the source makes is that everyone involved, Maria, the officer, Parker, everyone who saw it learned something deep about prejudice, about humanity, about fairness. It wasn't just a private moment, it was a lesson.
It absolutely serves as a powerful case study for us, looking back. Maria's bias, Parker's lie, how easily the system got derailed. It shows how vulnerable things are to bias if we aren't actively questioning our own first impressions.
Right. You see how quickly appearance and assumption just overrode the facts Ruby presented.
And that contrast between Eliana and Ruby, it's not just saying blood isn't everything. It's about the actions, the active choice to love, protect, forgive.
Ruby choosing to step in front of Parker, choosing to comfort him after he did that to her. That's love is a verb, isn't it? A deliberate act.
Exactly. It makes you ask, what does real care look like? It's often in those quiet sacrifices, that steadfastness, especially when it's hard or when you've been wronged.
So pulling back from this specific story, what's the core takeaway from this deep dive for you, our listeners?
Well, I think it shows really clearly how prejudice can blind us and lead to real, devastating injustice. It shows how lies, even from a child, can spin out of control with serious consequences.
And it powerfully argues that true family, that deep connection, it's built. It's built through love, through sacrifice, through showing up, through forgiveness. It's not just automatic because of biology.
Definitely. Which brings us to the final thought, maybe something for you to reflect on.
How often do we, maybe without even realizing it, make snap judgments based on how someone looks or on a situation we only see the surface of?
And what truths, what connections, what understanding about real love or fairness might we be missing because of those hidden biases we all carry? Something to think about.